Hello, hello, and welcome to another episode of Dela's Voice. Self-care, such an important topic, especially when we're going through crisis. I heard before that when you're going through crisis, your self-care has to double. So today I'm talking to an expert in this field, Fran Garten. Fran Garten is an educator, entrepreneur, warrior woman. She helps people over the age of 45 increase their mobility, confidence, and strength through customized fitness plans. She does workshops on movement, foam rolling, time management, stress reduction, and resiliency. Welcome, Fran Garten. I am so excited that you're here today. I just know that we're going to learn a whole lot from you today. So thank you, and welcome on Dela's Voice.
Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Awesome. So first of all, where do you live, Fran?
I'm in Kitchener, Ontario, Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Not too far. We're
Yep.
in the same province.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So tell me a little bit about yourself, Fran.
Oh man, that is a difficult question. When people ask that, I always think, where do I start?
So let me ask you this, okay?
Yeah.
So what did you do before all of this?
You'd think that that's an easier question. Okay, so let me work backwards. Okay, so I was an adult educator for 16 years with the Waterloo Catholic School Board, and I just gave that up in August of 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And during that time, I also became a fitness instructor and a personal trainer and a wellness educator and all these other things part-time. But in August of last year, I decided that being in the classroom really wasn't my passion anymore. It wasn't really what I wanted to focus on. And I found myself spending less and less time in that part of my life and more time trying to help my clients, help them with their mobility, help them with their health and wellness. And so it just seemed natural, and it seemed like the obvious choice to just give up the classroom and do wellness and fitness and health full time. So that's been a
Amazing.
big change. Yeah, it's been a big change. It's funny because I was thinking about this interview today before we got on live, and I was thinking to myself, the universe just gives you things you need, right? And it's really important to just do it. Like I think right now when we're talking about self-care and resiliency and what's happening with COVID, I think people need to start really focusing on what is the universe giving to them. So are they getting more time with their friends and family? Are they becoming less busy because they can't do all the things that they, I don't know, maybe thought they should do or they felt obligated to do? So yeah, it's interesting how you think you want one thing or you're on a particular path, and then things change or you meet people or events happen, and then you kind of realize that your path should change and it should go in a different direction. And I think right now, with everything that's happening with the pandemic, I think in my experience for myself personally and my clients and friends, people are realizing that maybe the path they're on is not the path that they need to continue on as they're moving forward.
This is good. So can I just tell you something? This
Yes.
afternoon, actually at 2:00, I am attending a workshop, and it's called the Passion Test.
Oh.
And it's a 4-hour workshop to discover my top 5 passions.
Wow.
I know. And you always think that, okay, well, I know what I like. I know what my passion is. But as you said, sometimes in life, you realize that what you've been doing all along is not really on the top 5 of your passion list. And it's worth it to give what you're passionate about a chance, because we only live one lifetime.
That is true.
I like it.
Yeah. That's awesome. Oh, that's so exciting. What a great workshop. And I think too, you know, I don't know how it was when, when you were growing up or how your parents were. The world is different now. Things have changed. And I think that, we no longer live in a world where we are restricted to only have one career path and only one thing that we really want to do. And I think that we have so many opportunities that I think it's not just about, finding your passion or figuring out what it is. It's about opening your mind. It's about a mind shift and shifting your mind to be open to what might be available to you, to, something that you thought was, oh, just something that you enjoyed part-time for the fun of it, that now actually is really your driving force and your passion, and that you're going to put all of your focus into it. But I really think that a mind shift is what's happening right now with the whole pandemic and this self-isolation, all the things that we have to do right now or that we can't do. There's a huge mind shift happening for many,
Well,
many people.
sure, right? We have so much time now to think about stuff like this. And what a great opportunity for people to start making those changes, whatever it is that you think can increase your happiness, your joy in life. So, okay. So, Fran, why are we talking about self-care right now? Why is it important?
Well, I think it's important because I think there's a lot of stress. I feel that with what's going on right now in life in general, but with the pandemic, I feel that people um, are feeling the lack of control, and that we don't really have a lot of answers of what things are going to look like moving forward, and when things may open up. And like, because I mean, even the people who are making these decisions for us in government and organizations, like, they don't have all the answers, because this is something we've never experienced before. And I think that for some people, the idea of not having any control is very stressful for them.
Sure.
And for other people, I think they're okay. They kind of go with the flow, and they're okay, but they also may be feeling some stress. So I think that self-care is really important, because right now we're in a situation where, like you said, we do have more time. And when you have time, I don't know about you, Della, but I know me, when I have time, this does a lot of work, like a lot of work, and it works overtime. My brain is on all the time. And so now, even with, less things that are filling our days, we have more free time. And I think more people are thinking, and maybe thinking about the fact that there is no control, and they really don't have that thing or their day or their life that's scheduled and that's set out in a particular way, the way it always is. They have to change that, and we have to change the way we do things. So self-care is so important, because stress is a horrible thing. So about 2012, I lost the vision in one of my eyes, and I ended up in bed for 4 months. And they thought I had cancer and a brain tumor and all these other things. They couldn't figure out what was going on. And I literally was in bed for 4 months, and I had a migraine. And people don't believe me when I tell them I had a migraine for 4 months, and no word of a lie. The only time that I had relief was, and I remember these incidents, they're very fuzzy, of my husband taking me to Emerge, the nurses in Emerge going, "Oh, hi, how are you, friend? Yeah, same thing as before." Like, they knew me by name.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And I remember, when they give you medication at the hospital, often it's in a saline drip, right? It had no effect. So they were actually pushing the medication manually directly into my vein.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember it going in, and I remember going, oh my God. And I remember the relief for maybe 10 minutes, and I passed out for about an hour. And then my husband was walking me to the car to take me home, and the migraine was back. And there were literally like 3 or 4 moments where I didn't have this migraine, because it was just so bad. And I had lost the vision in my eye. I had eventually, gone to a specialist, ophthalmologist, and he said to me, what you are experiencing is common. And what happens is, most people, their brain, because when we don't see with 2 eyes, we see one image that's brought together, right? He said most people's brain makes up the difference, and it's okay. So you don't really even notice that you've lost the vision because the other eye and the brain just compensate for it. He said, but for you, your body has so much stress in it from work, and this was work stress, that it has decided not to compensate at all. And what it's done is it's given you a migraine and it's taken your vision away, and you need to make some changes in your life. And it literally was 4 months in bed. And I remember lying in bed, bumming myself down the stairs to the kitchen. And I remember these moments, and it's moments really in that 4 month period, eating applesauce, taking my medication, crawling myself back up to bed. And that's the only time I got out of bed, unless I was going to an appointment. So stress is real and it affects your body so much. It can give you loss of vision, migraines, pains in your body. Like it can affect your digestion. You don't sleep. So there are so many things that stress can affect, and the effects it has on your body. And I think right now, people are really struggling with being at home, not working, maybe having their kids at home, having to school them. I have clients who are self-employed, both of them, both parents, self-employed, and young kids at home that they have to school. How do they manage that? Like there's so much that's being put on our plates that I think that self-care piece, I know we talk about it a lot and people say they do it, but I don't think that they realize how important it truly is.
Wow. For sure, for sure. Stress can affect in so many different things. And one of the coolest things I've also heard is that stress makes you stupid.
Oh yeah.
I-
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We stop thinking. We stop thinking. So it's so important to take time for self-care.
Mhm.
Okay, so how is it that you help, Fran?
I thought we were going to talk about easy things today, Della. What's going on?
So what
Okay. Yeah.
I think that you have so much to offer. And
Oh,
I
thank
mean,
you.
we talk about self-care, but um it's like you said, it's simple and we
Mhm.
hear it all the time. But what are some things that we can do, like anyone can do?
Yes. Yes. So the thing that I like to talk about is being resilient, right? And how do we develop resiliency? We need to, and this goes with the self-care, right? We need to be aware of what's going on in our body. So number one, check your energy. How do you feel? Like, and these are simple things like check your energy when you get up, check it in the middle of the day, check it at night, check it when you make a change. Yeah. So let's say you're navigating your day right now at home between you're doing your work and you're schooling your children, let's say. Okay. How is your energy when you finish your work and when you're with your kids? Like, what is the difference between those things? So feeling how you feel is really, really important. And I mean that because what happens is when you get stressed and or when you feel overwhelmed or when you're feeling lack of control, things tighten, all your muscles contract, which is not good. Okay, because when muscles contract in a stressful situation, what happens is the blood is not flowing the way that it should. And those muscles are not getting the oxygenated blood that they need from a very fundamental level. Like, I'm not a doctor or a medical professional in any way, shape, or form, but we know that when I'm stressed, I feel it here. And what happens is this: you see the rise of my shoulders, and then I'm like, oh, I feel that tightness. That's what I mean about feel your energy. All the energy and all the tension is here, and it can't go anywhere else in my body. Not my brain, not my heart, not my organs. Nothing else is working because everything is focused here. It's concentrated here. So when you're at home, I want you to think about, how are you feeling? Where do you feel contractions? Where do you feel that tightness? Okay. A lot of times we feel it here, right? It's where our heart chakra is. This is where we get lots of tension and stress. You feel that sort of constricted feeling. So how does that feel, right? Are you feeling that tightness there? And so as you go through your day, I would recommend people check in with themselves. How are they
So
feeling?
there's no such thing as an energy meter, but you are your own energy meter. You got to ask yourself that question. How am I feeling, right? That's a really important question. How am
Mhm.
I feeling right now? But it's for a lot of us, we go through our day so automatic, and we don't even take a moment to ask that question. That's really important to stop and ask that question. That takes awareness.
Absolutely.
So
And
what do you suggest?
if you're feeling, so let's say I'm going to check my energy and I feel I'm about a 5 out of 10 as far as my energy level. So you can look at it a couple different ways. What's your energy level like? Am I feeling really energetic, or am I feeling really lethargic and tired? So that's one way to look at your energy and engage it on a rate of 10, 1 to 10. 10
I
being
like
very
that.
high, 1
Okay.
being I can't even imagine walking over to the other side of the room. Okay. So
Gotcha.
yeah, right. And then the other way that you can think about your energy is, how is it feeling in your body? Like I mentioned, what does your body feel like? Where is that? It's most common a tense feeling in your body that most people have. So where do you feel it in your body? And then you've got these questions, you've answered my energy level. Okay, I'm at a 5 out of 10. Where do I feel the tension? Okay, I feel it here in my shoulders. Okay, and then really simple, and I know it's going to sound so simplistic, breathe.
Mm.
Just breathe. Inhale through your nose and breathe with intention, meaning, and then exhale through your mouth. Yes. And do it with volume, right? So the inhale should be audible, and exhale audibly.
Like a
And think
sigh of
about,
relief.
yes, and think about releasing that spot. So when you're breathing, I feel the tension here. I'm going to inhale, and I like to inhale and exhale with my eyes closed. That's my personal preference. And think about releasing the tension. Just think about it releasing.
Uh, I
And
like I just did it now for like twice, and I already feel it, because I do. I feel tense right here
yeah,
most of the time. Uh, and it's and so when I remember, it's like it's gone on too far.
yeah,
So that's when I remember. But
yeah.
you're right. If I take a chance, maybe 3 4 times through the day, what do you think? What could be a good reminder? What could people do, like to remind themselves to do this, like to check in?
Yeah, everybody's different. So, you have to make it a routine. So,
Mhm.
changing a habit takes, I think the latest research is 66 days to
I
change a
know they
habit.
keep
Yeah, they
increasing
keep
that.
yeah, they keep increasing it. So it's for all the overachievers, they want more. No, I think, there's a couple ways. You can set a reminder on your phone,
Okay,
set an
yeah.
alarm. I know lots of people do that. They set an alarm, and that's their time to check in and see how are they feeling, what's their energy level, do they need to, do they need to breathe, relax, take a couple of minutes to just decompress and not focus on anything. So that's a good way to, when you just thinking about this, Della, is for people who want to add meditation to their life but don't really. Meditation I find very challenging to do, and I also find that for myself I'm like, yeah, I'll do it later, and then I just don't. And I think the perception is you need a really large amount of time to do it, but this
Hmm.
would be a perfect opportunity to do a quick meditation. So you can, I like Headspace. um, it's a free app. You can pay for it, but there's lots of free ones, and there's lots of really short ones, and I prefer guided ones. So set a reminder, have something downloaded, or a short clip on YouTube that you can listen to, a motivational thing, or a piece of music, right? And then set the reminder in your phone. And then when that alarm goes off, you go to that piece and you listen to it. And then just take a minute and listen. It doesn't have to be 10 minutes. It can be 1 minute, and
I
just
tell
breathe.
you,
Yeah.
if you don't have 3 minutes, 5 minutes during your day to take care of yourself and breathe deep, what kind of a life are you living?
You know, I was a leader for a group that I was in, and one of the things that we do is we do the 168. So we all have 168 hours in a week, everybody. And we are in this program, we actually chart our day by the half hour. And you do it for a whole week. So you do your past week and you write down everything that you do from the moment you get up until the moment you go to bed. And then you look at your week, and then you look and see, and this is what happens. I would say 99% of the time, is people look at their week and they go, huh, look how much time I wasted. Look how much time, this is something that I realized when I did this the first time. Look how much time look how much time I spend being busy compared to being productive. Because
That's
those
so
are two
good.
different things.
Yes.
So I used to always say, I'm so busy, I'm so busy. And then I did this 168. So I encourage everybody to do it. I mean, if you want, I can post, I have an Excel spreadsheet that I'll just post it in on your page, or I'll send it to you and people can use
Great.
it. I
Yes.
encourage
Yes.
everybody to do it. You chart your past week and then you look at it, and I want you to notice, where is there time that's wasted, because there's big chunks of time that you're not doing anything. And I'm not saying you have to always do something, but it speaks to your point. If you can't find 5 minutes in your day throughout the day, like a minute at a time, you don't have 5 free minutes because you're busy. Okay, now I want you to look and see all the things that you say you're busy doing. What is busy and what is productive? Because they're two different things. And it's a very good exercise, and it's a very good eye opener to find out, what are you actually doing with your day and with your hours.
Amazing.
It's
Amazing.
it's mind blowing. I have to say, the first time I did it, I did it last year for the first time, and I was astounded. Like astounded at how much I thought I was busy doing things, and I just was wasting time doing nothing.
Fran,
Yeah.
I want to go back to your story.
Okay.
Because you went through 4 months of staying in bed with severe migraine headaches. You lost sight in one eye. And then the doctor said, listen, this is your body trying to tell you something. That's a good doctor, by the way.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Your body's trying to tell you something. You need to make some changes. So what did you do?
So at that time, I was teaching full-time adult education. And what was I doing as well? I'm just trying to think now. I had a part-time thing that I was doing. Anyway, so it was January that it happened. I went back to work in April, end of April, beginning of May, and I gave up. So I was teaching 2 classes, a morning class and an afternoon class. I gave up my morning class. So I went to just 2.5 hours of teaching a day. I gave it up. I'm done. And everybody that I worked with was, I taught in English as a second language, and that field is a great field, but it's really hard to get work. So if you have a job, most people don't give it up because they don't know when they're going to get another post, right? Another class. Everybody thought I was crazy that I had given it up, and I was like, nope, I'm not doing it. And at that time I was also doing some part-time training. And so I had decided that I would transition out of teaching and focus on training. But really what happened during that time, I just had more time for me and more time to heal. And that's exactly what happened. So I gave up one of my teaching. So I went to very part-time. I gave up my other part-time gig that I was doing. I had a couple of clients that I trained, but nothing serious. So I spent a lot of time taking care of me, honestly, because you can't, like, unless you've had something like that, some kind of, and it's funny, I did an interview a few weeks ago, and the person interviewing me said, that's a trauma, that's serious trauma. And I never in my life called it trauma. Never. I never ever thought of it that way. And then when I was talking to her, I was like, it kind of is a trauma, like a physical trauma, but emotional, mental, everything. And it just kind of changed my perspective on life. However, you kind of get caught up in life again, and then you start doing all these other things. And so as my journey continued, then I still stayed part-time teaching, got a few more clients, but wasn't really focusing too much on building the business, which was fine. And then I had some other physical problems in my body. So I spent many, many months not sleeping because I had the feeling of electricity all the way down my arms and into my hands and all the way down my legs and into my feet. Like it was like bolts of lightning. And I couldn't sleep. It was horrible. So many doctor's appointments and many tests to figure out what was going on. And at that time I was playing roller derby, and I remember skating, and we were at a practice, and my feet, I had such pain in my feet that I literally fell to the ground in the practice, and I couldn't get up because I had so much pain. And it was horrible. Like I just didn't know what was going on. Anyway, as it turns out, I ended up being diagnosed with osteoarthritis and fibromyalgia.
Wow.
Yeah. And so that was the big shift for me, because the eye thing was terrible. Because and they're two different experiences, but that one was terrible because I literally was in bed and I couldn't really do anything, and my body had to heal itself. This situation and getting the diagnosis was different because it was something concrete, and it was like, this is what's happened, but it was something that was, I can't change that. It's something that's with me forever now. There's nothing that can be done to get rid of the osteoarthritis. I can't get rid of fibromyalgia. It's just who I am. It's just part of my body now. It's not who I am. I don't want to say that. That's not the reality. It's what I have. And it's a chronic illness. And I know, and this is where my idea of mobility and training my clients, I know that there are people out there that are, suffering from various physical illnesses, and everybody's situation is different. So I'm not speaking for somebody else. I'm speaking about my experience. But for me, I refuse to not be able to do things just because I have fibromyalgia. I absolutely refuse. And if that means that I have to change my food, which I have, 2019 was a pivotal year for me. I've changed tons of things that I do and don't eat. I don't take any medication at all for my fibro or my arthritis at all. Zero. And I used to, but because I've changed my food and I've changed my physical activity level and I've changed the way that I exercise, that has made it possible for my symptoms and the effects of these illnesses to not affect my body the way that they did before. Because I absolutely refuse to be a person who says, I can't do that because I have this. I don't want to be that person. And I think that in many cases, you have to make changes, and sometimes you have to make sacrifices for what you want. And it doesn't matter what it is, okay? And I think that for some people, they're not willing to make those sacrifices, and that's okay. That's their journey and that's their life. But for me, I absolutely refuse to just be a person that's, not able to do something because of XYZ. So there are lots of different things that people can do to navigate what's happening with their body, with their minds, right? But you have to be willing to do the work, and not everybody's willing to do the work. They're not at that space in their journey.
Yes,
maybe that will come.
ready. Yes,
They're not ready. And I think that that's sort of, what happened with me when I had the loss of vision and I was in bed. I was kind of on the path. So I gave up part of my teaching and I thought, okay, that would work. But then I think the universe was speaking to me and said, okay, you did that, but you still have to do these things. So here's your new challenge, because I do think that challenges and obstacles are put in our way to test our commitment to whatever it is that we want. And we have two choices. We either go through the obstacle and rise to the challenge, or we say, we're good here, I'm going to stay here. And there's nothing wrong with that, because everybody's journey is different. But for me, I'm not willing to be a person that can't do stuff just because of whatever I've been diagnosed with.
that's
Not
so
in the cards.
good, Fran. Thank you for saying that, because a lot of times and everybody has their own challenges. We all have challenges, right? And some of us can sulk in that challenge and say, why me, I have bad luck, and why is this happening to me? And then just, kind of live like that for the rest of our lives, getting worse and worse and worse and worse, and staying in that victimhood lifestyle. And then some other people like yourself can rise up to the challenge and say, no, I'm going to see what I'm supposed to learn from this experience.
And it doesn't happen quickly. You have to think, anyone who's listening or watching the replay of this, it's not like I got diagnosed and I went, no way, I'm going to do it my way. That's not what happened, right? It's not like anybody that you see that, yourself included, like you're where you are, but it wasn't like you woke up one day and went, I'm going to do this and it's going to be easy. That's not what happened. Like people are looking at us, people are listening to me at the other side of it, not at the side when it started. I'm on the other side of it and I'm still going through it, right? So I had those days where I was like, why me? And there's no point and I'm not going to do it. We all have that. And they still happen, right? It's a matter of, like I said, it's a matter of a mind shift. Am I going to stay in that place, or am I going to move forward because there's something that's better? I don't know. I see people and I listen to people and you see them everywhere. And I think to myself, I do not want to be a 60-year-old woman who can't do anything. Like, I don't. I'm sorry. And I don't want to be somebody who is unhealthy and somebody who has a terrible mindset. That's not who I want to be. And so I think that, we do all have our journey and we all have our path that we're on. But I think that when people are ready, the people that you need, the things that you need to be brought to you, whatever challenges will present themselves to you when you're ready. Because if all of this had happened to me, like you and I having this conversation probably wouldn't have happened like 10 years ago. It just wouldn't, right? And us meeting each other, that wouldn't have happened. It happened last year, but it wouldn't have happened 10 years ago. And even if it had, our interaction would be very different and we wouldn't be where we are today, right? Because we were different people. And
Absolutely.
I think, we have to recognize that we kind of go through journeys. And I believe that people need to be open to different things that come to them. And it might not be okay. It might not be the time, and that's okay. But I think we all want to be happy and healthy.
Yes.
I hope.
So I want to ask you a question because you brought it up and you said, yes, there are those days I still go through low moods and low times and low energy. So what do you do then? How does Fran get herself out of there?
Gratitude. I like to write. I like to journal. So when I find that I'm not in a good place, I really do try and think about what are all the good things that are in my life. What am I grateful for, right? Even now, and this is something where the self-care comes in, we're going through this pandemic. Think about all the things that you have. We have houses, we have food, we have a place to sleep, everybody is healthy, we have clean water, we're not in a country that has war, like we have hospitals, we have a lot of things, right? So just thinking about what do you have and what you're grateful for. And also I think about where I was last year at this time. I like to look back and compare, and journaling allows you to do that too, because if you write down, and even if you're not, and you don't have to be good at journaling, you don't have to be good at writing, and you don't have to do it all the time, but if you have a bad day, then sometimes what I'll do is I'll go and grab a journal, because I keep past journals, and I just randomly grab one and I just kind of open it up and I go, oh, and just read the entry. And it might be a negative, it might be something terrible that happened, it might be something good, but then I'll start to flip through and go, oh yeah, remember when that happened? And now think about what's that situation and what is the result of that now? Like, is it even an issue? Like, because sometimes when I'm flipping through it, or if I'm thinking about something, I think about, oh yeah, like this year, this time last year, this was my situation. And now I'm like, huh, I haven't even thought about that. It hasn't even entered my mind. So it's a reflection is also a good tool to kind of get you out of things, and think about how far you've come. Think about the things you've overcome. So a lists are great. I love lists. What are all the things that you've done in the past month? And they don't have to be big things. Like that's the thing, when I think about your self-care or getting out of that that funk that you're in with your mood or your emotion, it doesn't have to be a big thing. Like, did you have a shower today? Good job, because we're all like locked down, right?
Yeah.
I did my hair. Look at me. I did my hair today, right?
Mhm.
Good job. I didn't do my hair. Well, but that's a big thing. Like I had a client that said to me last week, both of them work from home and they got 2 young kids, so they have to help their kids with all the online stuff. And she said to me, a win today is my kids didn't punch each other in the face, and I don't want to sell them at the end of the day. We're still a family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, she's like that. And we had dinner together. Like, that's the win, that we actually had dinner together and we're all happy and healthy. Like, so the thing is that when you journal and you write down about or think about the things you're grateful for, they don't have to be big things. I think people have this idea sometimes that a win has to be gigantic.
Mhm.
It doesn't have to be gigantic, because your win is different than my win. And for somebody that they did their hair today, that's a big deal. That's a huge win for you if you
Yes.
don't do that normally.
Yes.
So, perspective is different too. And to kind of give yourself a little bit of grace, that maybe you have a bad day and an off day. It's okay. Tomorrow will be better. There's always tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Um, there are so many different ways to get yourself out of that low mood.
Yeah.
And there's lots of right now there's lots of help on social media, lots of help on YouTube, lots of help on Facebook. Look at like this platform
Yeah.
we're doing, like we're talking about real stuff, we're talking
Mhm.
about real things that everybody's going through right now.
Mhm.
Grab some help. It's okay to ask for help. Call a
Yes.
friend, right? Like all these different things that we can
Mhm.
do to
Move
pick
your
ourselves
body.
up.
Move
Move.
your body.
Okay, so let's talk about that, because that's your forte. Let's
Yeah.
talk about moving your
Move
body.
your body. So, when you say get out of a funk, put your favorite song on and dance around. Like, why not? Who cares? Whether you
Mhm.
can or you can't, or just enjoy it, right? Move your body. Your body, we are designed to move. We are not designed to sit around and do nothing. That's not how we're made, right? Um, our body likes to move, so move it around. Whether that's do a workout or go for a walk, go outside, be outside in nature. That's an amazing way to boost your mood. Stand outside without your shoes on. Do some grounding. Stand in the grass with no shoes.
I love that.
It's
Love
fantastic.
that.
Or
Yes.
on the hot sidewalk. Oh my God. It's like standing on the beach, but no surf,
Without the
but
sand.
no sand. But you stand on it and feel it. Your feet, you know, I'm a barefoot specialist trainer, and our feet are really, really important. And there's so many receptors in the bottom of our feet. And as we age, they stop being receptive and we lose them as we get older. And so if you can walk around without your shoes on, you should definitely do it, whether it's in your house or out on the driveway or just standing on the balcony or whatever. Be outside and feel through your feet, because your feet get vibrations as you walk and move, and that goes through the whole body and it really helps the body.
Awesome. Oh, that's
Mhm.
really good. That's really
Mhm.
good. Another thing you show people to do is foam rolling. Is
Yeah.
that right? Yes. So what
Yeah.
is that?
Oh. I tell you all the hard questions. Okay, I'll start with. So foam rolling is a fantastic modality that you can do at home. And basically what it does is um, it brings oxygenated blood into your blood cells. Okay. So when, let's say I like, when you go to the massage therapist and they kind of poke around and you kind of feel that knot in your
Mm-hmm.
body, that
Yes.
tender. Okay. So
Yeah.
those are what we would call trigger points. And what's happened is the fascia, which is all the connective tissue that surrounds all the muscle fibers. So fascia connects everything in our body. And those knots are, there's either overuse or some kind of injury or trauma or stress that has caused the fascia to become hard, like a ball kind of. And so what happens is fascia is living tissue. So imagine this is my muscle, okay? And then I'm just looking, I'll use a pen because I don't have anything round right now. So I have a knot here, okay? And the fascia is living tissue. So it continues to lay down layers upon layers, even though there's something here, this knot that's here. What foam rolling does is we work the area and it brings the oxygenated blood and it breaks down the layers of fascia, and eventually we'll break this down and allow the fascia to move. And so, yeah, so the important thing about fascia is it's what allows the muscles and everything to move. So fascia should slide. Okay, that's how it should move. But what happens is when we get that buildup or that knot, the fascia is stuck. It's like Velcro and it can't move. So think about, many people have what's called plantar fasciitis, right? So the fascia on the bottom of the foot, when you walk, it hurts. What's happened is that plantar fascia, which is the ligament that runs through the bottom of the foot, the fascia's stuck. So when you walk, it pulls, but there's no give, so it hurts. So the rolling breaks down that fascia and makes it healthy again. That's basically, in a nutshell, what foam rolling is.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you would actually put something on a person's body and kind of like you would roll out a dough.
Yes. So so there are foam roller, this is something I do workshops on. I do 2-hour workshops on foam rolling.
Okay,
So let me
this is really
summarize it in 3 minutes for you.
because I'm thinking someone might be interested in this and they want to take your workshop. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. And so foam rolling, all foam rollers are not the same. I have to say I'm very biased towards Trigger Point, and Trigger Point foam rollers are designed in a very particular structure. They have a patent on their design. And the reason that they're superior to others is that their foam rollers have 3 different densities of foam to mimic your hand. So if I were getting a massage, one part of the foam roller has the density of a palm, the other one is the density of a finger, and the other one is the density of the fingertip. So there's 3 different densities on the foam roller. And other companies have tried to, I think, copy their design, but because it's theirs, they can't. And Trigger Point has a lot of research in their products, so they're designed based on research and things that they have found with the body. So they really look at how they construct their products. So I am not an employee of Trigger Point. I get nothing from Trigger Point. Their products are superior. And I've done workshops with massage therapists at different clinics, and even at the beginning of those workshops, those therapists have been like, oh yeah, we have a foam roller and it's fine what we have. And I said, as long as you roll, you want to use a rolling pin, go ahead. It's not going to be comfortable, but it's better than nothing, right? And even those therapists have said to me, wow, there's a difference. The Trigger Point's products are much better than other things that you find. So they definitely do have superior products. But yeah, a workshop teaches you, the different parts of the body, how to roll it, and the different techniques, because I have met only a couple of people who can actually foam roll correctly. Everybody does it wrong, which is why I do workshops, because almost everybody is incorrect in their technique. And there's actually 5 different ways to do it, not just one. And so I teach people how to do it properly.
Cool.
So yeah.
I would have never guessed that's what foam rolling is. I swear to you, I thought it was a sort of exercise that you roll on a mat or something like that. That's what I thought. But thank you for that.
Yeah.
I read something else in your bio, and that was really interesting to me, and I want to know about that. Okay. You volunteer at a donkey sanctuary in Ontario.
Yes.
What is that all about?
Okay. So in Pushlinch, so in Guelph, they have the Donkey Sanctuary of Canada, and it is a completely not-for-profit organization, so totally driven by donations. and they rescue and care for donkeys that are either no longer able to be cared for by their owners or have been abused and neglected. And so they are, I think they have 95-ish. I'm not sure exactly the number of donkeys on the farm. And they also have 12 mules, and then they have 2 hinnies, which is the opposite of a mule. The mule is a hybrid. It's the mother is the horse and the father is the donkey. And then a hinny is the opposite. The mother is the donkey, the father is the horse. And then they have about 40 animals on foster farms. So the sanctuary, their mission is to educate people about donkeys and the care of donkeys. And donkeys are equines like zebras and horses. And many people think that donkeys are like horses. So they get them and they feed them the same and they care for them the same way. And they're not at all the same. They're completely different animals. They think differently. You know, horses have a hierarchy. Donkeys don't have that. They're completely different animals. But the thing is that the people who started the sanctuary, they actually bought this 100-acre farm. So it was Sandra and David Patty, and they bought it for their dogs. And then what happened was someone that they knew said, oh, I want to rent your farm for my sheep. And then I should get some donkeys to protect them. And then someone said, oh, we have these donkeys that are not being cared for and they need somewhere to stay. Can they come to your farm? And after about a month or two, they had like 30 donkeys and they thought, we have a donkey problem and we need to figure out what we're going to do with this. So they started this sanctuary, and that was 26 years ago. So yeah, I volunteer there, and they do education and they do private tours, and you know, they care for the donkeys. And as volunteers, we learn how to groom the donkeys and how to care for them, and we help around the farm as needed, you know, and then we talk to the public. We educate the public about donkeys. And unfortunately, because of COVID, they're closed.
Yeah.
Today was the first open day of the year. They open in May. And so because of COVID, they're not able to open. They're hoping to do virtual tours in the coming weeks. And then hopefully, they're not sure, but they're hopeful as things reopen that by summertime, midsummer, that they'll be open to the public again. But
That's really cool.
yeah.
Tell me something interesting about donkeys.
Something interesting about donkeys?
Yes.
So donkeys, there's so many interesting things about donkeys. What can I tell you that people would find interesting? Donkeys are very smart animals, okay? They're super, super smart. They are problem solvers. So people think that donkeys are stubborn. This is probably the biggest myth about donkeys, that they're very stubborn and they don't do what they're told. And that's one of the reasons why people don't want them. But donkeys are different than a horse. So a horse has a hierarchy, and there's a leader and everybody else follows the leader. They all have their particular place in that hierarchy. So if you're the leader of the horse herd, I just go where you go because that's what I'm designed to do genetically. But donkeys don't do that. So donkeys think about themselves, and they think about, what is the benefit of me to do what Fran tells me to do? If they see no benefit to doing it, they're not going to do it, because it's all about self-preservation, because donkeys are desert animals. So if they run away from a predator, they leave their food and shelter and water. If a horse, so same family, equines, runs away, they're grassland animals. They'll always find what they need. So the donkeys will stay. So that's why people think they're stubborn. But they're not stubborn because of that. They're stubborn because they're protecting what they have, and they're protecting themselves. And then they're deciding what they want or they don't want.
Wow. Sounds like they have a good grasp of self-care.
Yes, they do.
I think they do.
And donkeys' ears, I could talk about donkeys forever. Their ears turn 180 degrees. They can hear, I think it's up to 20 kilometers away. So when they bray at each other, they're communicating. Yeah, they're very interesting animals, and they're very calm animals. And my experience at the sanctuary is when we have groups that come from one of the local care centers for people that have special needs. And when they come, the donkeys are just, they behave exactly how those people need. It's very interesting. They're very intuitive animals. Yeah.
Wow, very interesting. I didn't know all that about donkeys. So this is another talk for
Okay.
another time.
Yes, for sure. Absolutely. I would love to do a talk about donkeys.
I wanted to ask you because I volunteer too,
Mhm.
and that's a really important part of how I brought joy to my life. And I always talk about that because I feel like it fits in with today's topic too, this topic of self-care. What do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Volunteering is, you do it because you love it, and you are able to help other people or animals or whatever it is, and that brings you joy because you're helping them. Absolutely. And that's part of self-care, right? Because the whole part of self-care, like, yes, check your energy and, meditate and move your body and listen to your emotions, and all those things are all self-care things. But joy is also important, right? Gratitude. What can you do for somebody else to help them have a better day? Like, that's in essence what volunteering is, right? Whether it's something
Yes.
really small, and it doesn't have to be something big as well. That's the other thing. People, again, I think people have this misconception that to volunteer you have to spend hours and hours. No, you don't. Like, literally, volunteering is, you pick up groceries for for your neighbor because they can't get out. Like, that's volunteering. It doesn't have to
Yes.
be something that's organized, but you
Mhm.
do something and you feel good because you helped somebody else, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
It's service, right?
yeah, absolutely.
Service brings happiness to our
Absolutely,
lives.
for sure.
Oh, that's so good.
Hmm.
Fran, how could people get in touch with you? And I know that you said that you are going to post something on our page here about that 160, was this 168?
The 168. Yep.
168 hours per week.
Yep.
Um, I think that you should give that to anybody who reaches you via email. So
Okay.
what is the email address you want people to
They,
get in touch with you,
yep.
or
They
yeah,
can
what's an
email
easy
me
way?
at, yeah, Fran Garten at insistonfit.ca.
Insist on
On
fit.
fit.
So
Yep.
I think that maybe after this post is over, I'm going to put that under this Facebook page
Hmm.
or Facebook post, and people can get in touch with you if they want your help with
Yep.
something. This is what I want to say is that when you have a lived experience with something like a fibromyalgia situation or osteoporosis,
Arthritis. Yep.
arthritis, osteoarthritis, you are better equipped to coach people um, through this because you know what you're talking about.
Hmm.
So
Yep.
I think that's powerful. Anytime you have a lived experience, you make a great mentor, coach,
Hmm.
to help other people
Hmm. Hmm.
get through this,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Do you find that your experience makes you a much better caregiver?
Yeah, I do. And I also think that, my clients, I have some clients who are younger, but the predominantly my clients are 45 plus. And, as women, our bodies change and we are dealing with different things. And I think that being with somebody and having a coach that is going through that or has gone through those things, I can identify with that. And I think that, the journey that I've been on in the past couple of years, um, I can attest to things that I've done and how it's impacted my health and my life. And so then I can bring that to my clients as well, for sure.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Awesome. So that's Fran Garten at insistonfit.ca.
CA. Yep.
CA.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's awesome. Anything else? Because we've been talking now for 55 minutes. Isn't it fun? Time flies when you're
Oh
having a good
yeah,
time, right?
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I do have an offer for people that are on the call or that watch.
Awesome. Let's hear it.
Yeah. So um I have a 3-session offer for you. So we will do an assessment. I will write you a program, okay, which will include exercise and mobility and recovery. And then we do 2 sessions after your assessment where you learn the program. And then the 3rd session, after you've had time to practice it, then we come back together and we review anything, we make any tweaks, make any changes that we need. I have that offer for everybody. So that's I'm offering that to your people for $150.
Okay.
And if they sign up, I will do 6 o'clock tonight.
Okay. By
Okay.
6 o'clock
By
tonight.
6 tonight, yes. They will also get my 28-day body shift program, which is a 4-week meal plan with all recipes, shopping list, all that, and an extra 30-minute coaching call with me.
Ooh. Ooh, that's
And
so
that can be
good.
whatever they want. They can have a talk call, we can do a life coaching call, we can do a workout, we can do whatever they want. That 30 minutes is theirs, however they want to use it.
That's awesome. So let's
Yeah.
just to recap. So you're going to
Yes.
give them 3 sessions.
3 sessions. So the first session will be an assessment. That's
Uh-huh.
usually 45 to 70 minutes.
Okay.
Okay. Then
Okay.
the second session, so from the assessment, they will immediately in the assessment, they will learn some foam rolling, some other stretches that they can do right away to help with some mobility stuff and issues that I find, okay, and imbalances in their body.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And from the assessment, I will write them a program. Okay, so that's based on their goals and what they need. So I just did an assessment and wrote a program for someone this week. She only wants things that are movement based, so not weights, nothing cardio, nothing like that. She wants movement and stretches, so yoga, foam rolling, more gentler things. And then I have another person I did an assessment for, and she wants all weight stuff. She wants strength training. So I did a plan based on that. So the assessment, and then that helps guide my program that I will write for you. So second session will be going through the program, teaching it to you, watching you do it, giving you some feedback on things that might not be you're doing properly, and we'll talk about that. That's about an hour, give or take, sometimes a little bit longer. Then the third session, you'll have had time to work through your program a couple times. You'll come back, we'll go through it again, and then we'll make any changes that we need. Okay, or maybe you need feedback on form or you have questions, we run through it again. And on top of that, if you sign up with me by 6 o'clock today, so you can just email me and let me know, and then I'll contact you. You will also get my 28-day body shift program. So this is 4 weeks of meal plans, all the recipes and grocery lists for you to follow as you go through this journey. And on top of that, I'll give you a 30-minute free coaching call with
Oh, that's awesome. That's so good. That's so good. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So we'll put your email there, Fran Garten at insistonfit.ca. You
Yep.
can find Fran right here on Facebook. You can find her on Instagram under Insist on Fit.
Mhm.
Reach out to her. She'll get you moving. She'll give you the confidence you need. She'll show you the way because she's done it herself. You can trust her. I want to thank you, Fran. It's been an awesome talk. So easy to talk to, and so much knowledge and information. Lots of fun things I learned on donkeys. Thank you so much for that. That's awesome. That's gravy, by the way. And I would love to have you on here again very soon.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And I want to wish you the best day ever. And thank you, everybody who's tuned in. As always, this is Dela's voice, hoping to spark your soul. Till next time.